Alrighty then, as a famous man once said.
Hi guys, we're live. Welcome
Again!
back. Still, what?
Yeah, we never...
I'm like always live. We're either doing these or lives late at night or.
You live off the community, Stuart. You're like a live vampire. You're just like, yes, talk to me, my followers. Moo-ha-ha-ha.
Yes. Well, welcome back, guys. We're looking at Prodigy opening credits title sequence thing. So, yeah, hopefully you guys have seen it. If you're outside of the U.S., that might be difficult because for some reason they don't want anyone in the world to see their shit except for the U.S., which infuriates me, and I don't understand the logic behind that at all. This isn't the 1950s where you get worried about the communists and all that crap. So you don't want stuff to get out.
If the communists had the Star Trek Prodigy sequence, they might rule. Oh.
Yeah. It's just that weird, isolationist thing. Like, I don't know why.
It's licensing.
With the World Wide Web, I don't really care. People still should be seeing your content.
Oh, if they've paid for exclusivity, etc. And there's probably a certain point where they realise that if people want to see it, they can see it. Either through VPNs, which are legal and far more common in the last 2 years than the last 10. For the average person, I mean. And VPN is a one-click, and there we go, not an issue anymore. Plus torrenting, pirating, people sharing on Facebook as well. I mean, they must know, and I think they're probably counting on people sharing it outside of the formal means because they want the traction. If you remember, Game of Thrones season 1 was the most pirated show of all time. Actually, got more pirated views than actual views, and they said to the producers, "Oh, that means your show is doomed." Turns out you doubled your audience.
Yeah.
Because people watched it, loved it, and then the legal rating went up for season 2, and some people couldn't, but then Blu-ray sales were high, etc. So, I mean, they have the licensing league keep it limited, but then we all get it anyway, and they still win. So I guess that's a win-win for them. I don't know.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
But anyway. Squadron course, $2 first. Guess you're first. Is this the first 3 nacelled hero ship? Probably not 3 nacelles, but it's probably something else in the middle there. Probably like a generator. We'll talk about that in a video coming up. So, but yes, essentially the first 3 nacelled hero ship, if you want to say that. Sure. Yes.
Or at least 3 nacelle-shaped drive unit assembly.
Yeah. Mark Lawrence, $5. Get the monies rolling. I wonder if the ship is somewhere between the Archer class and the Nova class size-wise. Yes, that seems like a very fair assessment. It does seem like a rather small ship. I assume it's bigger than the Archer class, but I would say that the Nova class would be like. I could see this being the same size-ish, but I think it's a little bit smaller. So.
And
yes.
The window scale is unhelpful because they're clearly not window sized. Like an average TNG window size, they're just not, and so because a window could be any size, you could have a porthole size of an X1, you could have a tiny little, so it's a hard metric. That's why normally in traditional Trek before 2009, every ship of an era would keep a consistent window size, and therefore you could track based on the windows, etc. But when they kind of abandoned that, it became much harder. Like the J.J. Abrams window size is comparable to the design scale, but as soon as you make it the scale of the actual ship, they're massive because they fucked up.
Yeah.
Same with Disco Windows, Disco Enterprise.
Now, Feed Me Seymour, I assume, is trolling because let's do that. Even got timed out last night for being a bit of a shit. But anyway, third nacelle is pushing the craft whilst in warp. Look at it pushing the energy flow aside to get faster. That's not what's happening. It's probably generating some kind of wormhole or something.
Because that's not warp. Look.
Exactly. That's not how warp works.
Or looks.
Yeah.
So, no.
So, it's not pushing it faster, and it's not a rocket. It's not a booster.
I mean, have you seen the Discovery shuttles? They have engine rocket boosters.
I've never seen a Discovery shuttle before in my life. What do they look like?
But they're everywhere in my nightmares.
I just watched Lower Decks. I didn't see anything that looked like it could be from Discovery and the shuttles. There's a lot of shuttles in that episode.
That's a dream, Stuart, not a nightmare.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Olivia Julius, $10. Today I made an order. I will be the proud owner of my own little Foley and Cockings, along with a little Olivia. If you want one, check out Geeky Sheep Canada Voodoo Doll add-on cost extra. Yeah, my mother-in-law who makes those,
Oh, no.
Olivia put an order in for a Foley and Cockings,
Oh,
and
no.
she also requested one of herself in a
no.
Discovery uniform, apparently. So.
Oh, no. That statement got worse and worse by the second.
Yep.
Goodness. I mean, well, that's amazing, but also, my God.
So check out Geeky Sheep Canada on Facebook if you guys want any. You can message her and maybe order some. And
Yeah,
I like the Voodoo add-on cost is extra. And my mother-in-law has access to my, hair from my hairbrush. All the things you need to get the Captain Foley Voodoo doll.
Bodily fluids. Just
wow.
You give away too much access to it. It's very.
So
it's odd Thursday.
I'm not going to make a comment about that.
Well, if the voodoo, Stuart, it's part of voodoo. What do you mean? I'm not being dirty. It's just voodoo. You need that shit. Like you said, the voodoo extra cost. I mean, you get a cut of that, obviously. Yeah.
Sure. Aussie though, $5. The ship has nitrous on the things. Oh, man.
Okay, that was a fun way of saying that. Although briefly,
in space.
Briefly, while I got 80 people here. Do you guys like the inclusion of the dotty alien thing in the thumbnail from the previous one? Kind of fun? Question mark?
Let us know if you like the addition of the little dude in the
Voiced by the guy that does all the clone troopers in Clone Wars. It's like, what?
Nice.
And he's like, it's like, really? You made him not speak words. Good job.
BJ Turan, $2. Not a third nacelle, but a Hura's tailpipe. That sounds really dirty. Yeah. Yep.
That was my Chang recreation. Not Kang. Don't be stupid, Samuel.
Well, happens so often. Captain Chili Beana, $5. This was better than expected. Music pretty good. Lots of ship porn. I'm excited to hear both your thoughts. Also, I love the blob in the thumbnail.
Yes, from the show.
So we got somebody says sure, somebody says kinda, not particularly. I'm gonna throw a Pokeball at it. Yes, I reckon. Sure, no, yes. I love the opening. Oh wait a minute, that's something else. Okay, there you go.
I am going to start sharing then.
Go for it.
See you in a minute.
All right, 88 people watching, 60 likes, guys. Easily, you can hit 100 likes. We had 29 to start before we even started the live, so I assume if everybody out there hits that like button, if they haven't already, we will get to 100 easily. So hit that like button. It's one of the best ways to support the channel and help us out just by liking the video. You can also super chat. We've already got quite a few super chats in already, which is a great way to start out. So if you want to tell us something, goddamn. If you want to tell us something about this opening that you noticed that we maybe didn't, or just your thoughts on things, by all means, super chat is a great way to do so because we do read them all. And we kind of pride ourselves on that. So if you can, please do. Means, super chat also, don't forget that you can join the channel. You can select your rank on for a monthly fee. So it's a monthly way to support the channel. It's not very expensive either, depending on what tier you pick. So check that out. Or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. Patreon is another great way to support the channel, as we get kind of more of the funds on Patreon than we do through YouTube. So if you want to do that as well, check that out. You can also send us a PayPal at trekyards@hotmail.com. As we say all the time, the information for PayPal and stuff is in the description of every video, so check that out. And if you want to PayPal, just let us know in the chat that you've done so, and we'll read your comment or question via the email from PayPal. So it's another great way to talk to us directly. Other than that, check out some of the Teesprings and TeePublic store stuff. A lot of you have been getting Trekyards merchandise from TeePublic and posting pictures of it on Twitter and stuff. Somebody just, God damn it, somebody today just posted a picture of one of the Trekyards shirts they got. And so it's always cool to see that. So if you can do that as well. I know that TeePublic actually has some sales coming up in September. We'll notify you when those are happening. Usually on the lives, we just say that they're having a sale. And their sales, goddamn, their sales are generally 35% off. So that's pretty great, actually. So yeah. So 67 likes now with 90 people here. Again, hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. It's easy, simple. If you're on your mobile device, you're not sure how to do it because the live chat is up, you just click the little X on the top of the live chat. It'll close. You'll see a like button. Hit that, and then you just re-click the live chat, which is 2 little text bubbles that you can see, and that'll bring up the live chat again. So lots of ways to hit like if you're on the mobile device, in case you didn't know how to do that. The live chat kind of blocking everything. So
he's back.
Oh yeah. Well, you are.
You're still my thunder, though, weren't you?
Yes. I was. Olivia Julia's $5. I wonder what happens to a crew member if they're in the back section when the ship transforms. Probably nothing, because they wouldn't be able to get into the areas that transform.
Yeah,
what you got to be worried about. What you got to be worried about is sitting in a transformer like Bumblebee or Optimus Prime when they transform, because then you're going to get squished. The Jay and Silent Bob cartoon that went for 1 season had that. Somebody was sitting in the transformer and it transformed, and you see blood gush out of the transformer's chest. Not cool, but yeah. So.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah.
So how many people have we got here else to then? We've got 89. Put in the chat right now then. Did you like the star sequence? Did you not like the star sequence? Or are you meh on it? You'll save judgment until you've actually seen it. Because it is clearly missing the names, which would, I'm guessing, reveal something else.
Possibly.
Although they already released the 2 villains, both known actors, which is kind of cool. I know them both. I like them both. So that's cool. Yeah, that's fine. It's very visual, so you guys should have easy opinions on it.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on this, honestly, are that it's in contention for the best Star Trek intro or opening, up there with Voyager. We've done our favorite openings of the shows before, and this one is definitely up there for me now. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. What about you? Did you think? Did you enjoy it? Was it the proper amount of ship porn for you, Samuel?
Well, arguably excessive ship porn. It can only be so hard. No, it's good. It's a nice, pleasant surprise. I obviously wish the ship looked like an actual evolution of Rick Sternbach's and John Eves' Prime design aesthetic, rather than a more J.J. Kelvin aesthetic. So it's all tinted by a slight if this was the Prometheus but smaller, with RCS thrusters and if it was the proper ship design, it'd be even cooler. But that's all the grain of salt with this whole thing. It's creative. It doesn't feel as hoity-toity as the Discovery one. It feels like they just had fun ideas and sort of did them. Discovery one, they said let's make 7 fancy visuals and be elegant, and it's pretentious, This is kind of this is a team having fun. And even if the stuff doesn't necessarily mean anything, you can tell they're having fun. And they like their ship. And the ship's going to be a character, because they focus on the ship like no one's business. So it feels like this is going to be definitely the ship's going to be important.
God damn it. BJ Turon, $10.
Thank you.
Strangely, the starship looks more TOS in a JJ way than the ships from Disco. Tubular nacelles, yes, and hull plating is what does it for me. So far, I like what I see. I am right there with you.
Yeah, brilliant.
It has a very JJ. The whole intro has a very JJ vibe to it. Even the music, and the music honestly was one of the best things in a 2009 Star Trek for me. So, and the beautiful visuals here, beautiful colors. Just some great CG animation. So, yeah, I'm on board with this thing 100%.
That's a good time to jump into the music then. Yeah, instantly I was like, oh, that's just J.J. Abrams' music. And it was written by the same guy that did J. Abrams' score. So I was right. And his style is very recognisable and very samey. That's not so bad thing. You hire composers that compose a certain style. But it's very, it's another sign that we're sort of still post-09. At a certain point, that style's going to take over as being the standard, at a certain point, which is going to be a shame. But you know, it's sort of it's definitely not as like creative as the Voyager. Like the DS9 Voyager and TNG scores really have a punch. This is not. This is like a nice, gentle exploration theme, but I won't remember it. Like it's not memorable. It's just nice. So
Not yet. Once you hear it a few times, it'll be more memorable, I think.
Sure, but like Voyager is like a 2 and you're done. Like those, you know, they're so unique and so popping. I think music is fine. It's not quite as strong, but it's a lot of like nice, fun vibe. You know, it is for kids. It's visually fun. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? The brief always affects. It always affects what you do. So this fits its brief very well. You know.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go to the first picture because it kind of ties in with the next super chat we have here. Joe Hernandez puts in $5.
Good to see.
Says,
Joe.
how about the third nacelle releases tetryon particles or whatever, like Borg cubes? The animation looks similar to how the Borg travel. It is a generator of some kind. I'm going to pretty much guarantee that. It actually, this first shot does appear like they're coming out of a wormhole of sorts. And it kind of got me thinking about the Omega Directive episode of Voyager, because there's a line where Harry Kim says, I think there's a Type 6 protostar out there, and the captain's planning on detonating it and opening up a wormhole to the Alpha Quadrant. In theory, it's possible, and because she doesn't want to get her hopes up, she's not telling anybody. So the fact the ship's called the Protostar, Harry Kim refers to a protostar and creating a wormhole. That's what I think this is, an experimental ship with a wormhole generator, essentially. Whether it's reliable or not is probably in question, but then again, probably it's not reliable because otherwise, as you know, it could be a god ship. And just do whatever it needs to do and go wherever it needs to go. So if it doesn't function properly, perhaps that's why it was crashed on the planet. You know, it could make for an interesting story idea. So
I said to you that if its drive system is a big function of the plot, then I would assume that the season 1 arc could be one of the several would be to get the ship working again, because with that drive you could get home again. And like the big rock dude is a engineering genius apparently, and they've also got that TOS alien that's in the box that's meant to be very clever as well. So, you know, if only they could fix it, they could go to the Alpha Quadrant and be safe. If only. And then turns out it's way more broken than they thought or something. So I could see it being, you know, whatever. But, I mean, you know, this first image, which is great, it starts out really well. The problem with this tile sequence is that we also see them fly by eyes. So
yes.
It's just like, certain famous manuscripts. It's like, well, what's allegory, what's story, what's recollection, what's first-hand account? It's like, well, I mean, everything here is not real until it's real, you know?
Yeah. Even later, they're like traveling a highway of Elcars.
Yeah, so it's likely they're all visuals, and considering in almost every shot there's a trail of stellar matter behind the nacelles, which in context works, but it shouldn't be how the ship operates. That's absurd. It's not how the stuff works. But it's not turned on in several shots, which is like, oh, okay, cool. So,
Probably just flashy visuals for the opening, hopefully.
Which is great then. I mean, same as Discovery, like that last shot as it goes by the camera, the red streaks go by. So it's mostly conceptual, as you can imagine. But yeah, the first shot's great. They're coming out of the... And if that's the effect of like the drive, that's a great effect. I can't fault them for a nice looking particle, technical.
Olivia Julius puts in $5. This is how Discovery's intro should have been.
Would have been cool.
Yeah. Mark Lawrence, $5. Tachyon acceleration drive to boost your maximum warp speed by a tad. Because tachyon acceleration drive, the acronym for that would be TAD. That's funny. That's funny.
And president's always right, so...
Yeah, true.
I don't think it's going to be anything to do with warp drive, though. But then it also can't be anything too radical, because they haven't got it in Discovery Season 3, they haven't got it in Picard, they haven't got it... so it's got to be... But it's like the Spore drive, you can make something absurd and then classify it or have it fail. That thing worked flawlessly. Hopefully this will be literally a failed prototype ship that, really failed, but it takes Delta Quadrant brains to make it work. That'd be fun. It was a complete, absolute, this was test 1 of unmanned drone ship and got lost and like, oh, I guess that's not going to work. This sort of drive. Moving on, you know.
Yeah. Sergeant Montgomery, $5.
Mm.
Will she have a multi-dimensional cavernous turbo shaft? Imagine it having hybrid engines that can keep them at top warp for weeks, maybe months. Hey, that's fine too.
Stuart, if they have that, then the design will be like the Horizon and the function will be like Horizon.
There you go.
Imagine if I named in the credits as like ship inspired by. It's like, what?
You wish.
Yeah. Well, no, because they could have at least carried over the transporter emitters. Jeez. But yes, first visual's rather nice.
121 people watching with 83 likes. I asked for 100. We have more people here now, so hit that like button if you haven't. It's easy to get to 100 likes. Just hit that like button, guys.
And then very quickly in the title sequence. Now it's a bit of a noisy, busy title sequence, but it works in context. But it's not as clean as some of the other ones. But you do get this beautiful shot of the ship very early on, and us as the filmmakers, us as a ship lovers, I mean. It's like, oh, that's the whole ship. There you go, and that's the kind of view you want. That and a front 3/4 is like, and we've done how many reviews of ships where I do renders, and it's like this is all my few angles, and it's like all we need to give a good indication. This is like one of those angles.
Yeah, I just realized actually. I mean, we talked about it a bit before in the video that's coming out on Saturday, which you guys haven't seen yet. But the engines have a very JJ-esque feel, and actually, I thought they looked really familiar. Franklin engines. Same kind of stubbiness, the same kind of back end. Just, you know, the bizarre collector's flatter.
A little bit. I mean, if you know, if it is J.J. Abrams' universe, it isn't, but let's say it was. And this was a test ship. You could always link it to that as being a canonical highlight.
But yeah, I don't think it'll have cavernous turbolift shafts. Seems like a rather small ship, so.
That would be beyond shocking. But it's always beyond shocking when it appears. So, would you even be shocked, Stuart, if they did it?
Yes, I would. You can't make the same mistake twice. You got to learn from your mistakes. They're just not willing to say they make mistakes. So of course they're going to double down. They're going to quadruple down like they did on some of the stupid in season 3 of Discovery by showing the turbolift shafts in more detail, instead of just phasing them out so that we forget about them. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised at all, actually. Damn it.
Yeah.
That's probably where the engine goes to in the middle, because look at that middle part, how slender that is. And yet this thing, like, it's very transformy feel, but it also feels like there's TARDIS space in there for all the components. So that has me worried. Maybe it's some kind of interdimensional, like, storage unit. I don't know. I can see problems though. So. And one thing I didn't notice watching this the first 2 times is they're traveling over rocks here. That's the rock creature guy. Like, all the characters are represented here. I didn't realize that at first. I thought this was just like a asteroid or some kind of planetary surface, but it's not. It's one of the characters. So.
And in fact, I did read that as one of the other elements. There are actually that throughout the tile sequence. They're all in there, all of them.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is pretty great. I mean, I do think they're too subtle. That's one thing I took away. I wish the characters are a bit more present. I'm assuming when you put the names of the characters up, it might, the way they'll frame it will add something.
One thing I did like is they didn't dumb it down for kids. Like, see the ship fly by, and then a picture of the rock person's like face shows up with a big smile. Like, so and so is so and so. You know, they've kept it artistic, and I like that because it speaks more to a larger, older audience. Whereas they could have gone really kid friendly with it, and literally had like the characters like on screen on each side, you know, whenever they're. So I'm glad that wasn't a thing, because.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a children's thing. It just feels like a nice artistic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to see the rock creature's face there as it kind of starts angling up. The ship starts angling up.
It's the journey. The whole thing's about the journey. I'm assuming the thematic nature of we're exploring with the ship while the ship is exploring us in terms of who we are deep down. And this is going to be an important ship, I think. Kind of like Firefly and be,
Yeah.
they've not really achieved. Like Sweetest is somewhat a ship, like a character, but it's too boxy. It doesn't really have, like, it feels like a nice place, like a good ship to be in, but not a character in and of itself yet. But then, one season of TNG is more than 2 seasons of Lower Decks. So obviously, 2 years have had less than 1 year of content for TNG. So of course it's going to feel more like a home quicker. They had hundreds of episodes, whereas, so it's a hard bar to follow.
Yeah. But then the ship swoops up through a cloud, and then you see like a big eyeball, which I think this is the main male character. Not really sure actually, because then it goes into like a planet almost with like Saturn type rings.
Oh, that looks
or
great.
energy.
That's real pretty.
Yeah, it is. It's very pretty. But I don't think it's a planet. I think it's probably something on a character because it's got kind of a divot in the middle of the planet there.
I just think it's just a sexy Jupiter.
Because the next shot is coming around something metallic. Now, is this the bad guy or is this the Medusan? Because it looks like it's orbiting. You got the rings there still.
Oh, yeah, this is the Medusan. Yeah. When you get to the headpiece.
Oh, yeah, because you can see the eye glowing there. Okay. I recognize the hand later. There's a metallic hand that it flies over, which is clearly the Medusan's arm. So, but...
And they, every angle of the ship pretty much is represented. You can see the multiple
Yep.
reflectors, you can see the windows, you can see the arrowhead shape, you can see all the... But in this view, it's not doing the light trails, so not an always thing.
Well, that being said, it had the sun behind it, so you wouldn't see them necessarily, because the very next shot still has them.
I meant for the next shot.
Oh.
Going around the thing.
Oh, yeah. Like these blobs, I assume, are your little blobby friend that's on the thumbnail of today's video.
You think?
Yeah, it looks like it's
Ooh.
inside him almost, because
wow.
even it's all gelatin around them as well, and these are maybe the cells. I don't know, but
Dang.
it's a cool visual. I mean, the way this ship sweeps, like, it's not just static, like, flyby images like a lot of the Voyager ones were, like, slowly going through the...
Well, that was very advanced for the time.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair.
But this is nice sweeps, and I get to see the ship and really doing some motion and some cool angles, so... Not a band account, puts in $2. It says, USS PROTOSTAR looks nice, but needs a third nacelle. Yeah, ask and ye shall receive.
Yeah, who thought that going in?
Thomas says the metallic hand is the Tellarite, isn't it?
Yeah, metallic hand is. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. My bad.
Well, I was going to say we got there, but beat me to it.
Gotcha. But no, it's definitely... Actually, a lot of the views of this, like when it swoops by with the bottom of the ship there, it seems almost like Orville ship. Some of the shapes are very Orwellian, especially the front of it. It feels very much like one of the Explorer class ships. So,
this view in particular, which I'm gonna have to wait a second on, it literally is an arrowhead. Like literally, the back bit is what sticks into the wood, etc. As I said previously, this is a very similar design to my Horizon. A lot of elements that I did are here. I would recognize them, so it's nice to see that design cue in something just smaller, but the size of the ship is so tricky because we've seen the ramp, we've seen the bridge size, but look at those windows and look how few there are. You assume few windows means also a smaller ship because less room for them, etc. But the windows are so small, but they're all the mixed messages, Stuart. All the mixed messages.
It can also be little porthole windows when they look out like are really this big too, right? Like it's hard to tell.
100%.
So.
Yeah. Oh, and this next one is zooming in. That's one of the collectors we saw on the planet she's from. So I think you are right about that. They were gonna keep going back to that planet. I do think you're right about that.
Yeah. We talk about that in the release on Saturday, talking about the ship and how the drive might work and stuff. If you guys are interested, or if anybody wants to super chat and have a question. Don't want to get too much into it and reiterate the stuff you're going to find out on Saturday in our video for that, but.
Adde, Stuart, adde. Oh dear. But yeah, what do you guys think about the star trails there?
Oh, there we go. I'm back now, apparently. Yeah, so I guess it's the Tellurite's hand that's flying over.
Also, Pumpkin Spice says the Enterprise D was originally a concept for a new Enterprise for the motion picture. No, not at all. Andrew Probert sketched that in the Enterprise, in the TNG art department, which he was one of the first members of, and showed it to people in the TNG art department. They were not designing a new Enterprise while working on... I mean, TNG didn't start till like Star Trek 3, did it? So...
exactly.
Years and years later. Pumpkin Spice, man. No. Far off.
Yeah. No, the visual of the hand is great, I think. But I mistook it for the Medusan's hand. But, yeah, three fingers.
Yeah, because the guy's got broken robot hands.
Yeah.
And I took it more literally. I don't like the... people saying on, oh my god, are they fighting Galactus? I'm like, no.
They're fighting Unicron.
No, not quite. But I think until you actually know the characters are in it, that like I didn't pick that up first time around. They're so subtle. But this thing comes out and it's like, oh, there is a giant hand. But when you know in context, oh, they're all in there. It fits in. So it's. You know, you said earlier the kids aspect could be dumbing it down. It's actually more spot on you'll find for the older crowd, which I quite appreciate.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah, well there he is.
Yeah.
And then they're going into a delta?
Well, that's very Discovery-esque, that whole with the way it's swirling and the delta thing. But yeah, it looks like rain particles almost, but like from a sun.
Oh no, I think it is going into her hair because we know that's the one that has the hair that's also like braids. It's also, yeah,
because when it goes up and above, you can see it fade into those. So
it's going up her hair, and then this robot thing. Now this I don't recognize. I'm assuming it's the villain. I
think it's probably the villain. It looks like a Terminator, but I think it is the main bad guy, yeah.
We have seen pictures of, which I guess I can actually show because I teased that the other day. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, good.
Yeah.
Very Star Warsy. I'll bring those up now. I might as well bring that side by side, which you haven't seen yet, I guess.
Yeah.
Where's the folder? And it's cool. The L-cars are cool. I mean, the way they show them. I'm glad they're just TNG Nemesis L-cars, as they should be. I mean, that's... You know, and it shows how sleek this ship is, because that's a front view. Is like, boy, it's it doth sleek. All right, so here is the villain. Now there's two villains, but here is one of the villains of the season. Let's be honest, he's a Star Wars robot.
Yeah,
like Star Wars robot.
Looks like an evil K2SO. Actually,
yes,
an evil version of K2SO.
yes.
Ooh, we have 110 likes, 147 people here. That's awesome, guys. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I want to get to 150 likes now, so another 40 likes. Hit that like button, guys. We're doing really great today, so keep it up. This is really fun. I love new Trek stuff. This is awesome.
Yes, and great comment. This is Ultron from the MCU.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, it's fine. I don't like robots in Trek in general, so I'm hoping it's like a sentient AI or, you know, because that's not a robot per se. It is, but there's some more cleverness to it, or it's like an ex-alien put into a robot body. So it is a robot, but it's also artificial life form. And there's a few robots in Trek, but there's a caveat. This feels very robot-y.
Phoebe Seymour says General Grievous's cousin, Major Moaning. Sounds like a sex bot. The Stanleys says Trekyards, do you think the engine system is something we've seen before or something new? I think it's something entirely new. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm really excited for that, actually.
Yeah, given how radical it is, I think it's fair to say it's something new.
Not a banned account, $5.
Dang it.
Speaking of Discovery, a hologram Michael Burnham would have been far more ideal in teaching Federation values to cadets. She taught Spock, after all. Wow, that was trolling to the max. Thank you, not a banned account.
But we do know Michael Burnham is the best character in Star Trek.
Absolutely. Speaking of, this is that Elcar's highway I was talking about. You see some of the buttons with numbers on them. You got a bridge button, warp drive activated is visible there. There's lots of neat little visuals on this Elcar's highway. And that's an interesting visual. Obviously, that's not going to be what happens in front of the ship, so I can forgive the streaking behind the engines. That's a great visual, the streaking behind the engines, but it's really not Trek. So I hope that's just artistic license for the opening credit sequence here. Because this certainly is. Because this is leading the technological path to the Janeway hologram that we get in a second. Yeah, because you see her as well, and there's Elcar's obviously there. So with the Delta.
Yeah, what do you think of the new Delta, with it being an open Delta front thing?
Not a fan. Not a fan. I'll have to see it better than this, obviously.
Oh, it's half Delta.
Yeah.
Huh. What? Like, I was interested in being a full Delta, but half Delta. What is that? Like, what's even the point of that? That can't be in the show, surely. I mean, again, half these visuals are at least half are completely aesthetical, but that can't be in the show. A half Delta.
No, because we've seen the Janeway hologram already, and it's a true Delta that she's got. So maybe this is the computer forming her holographic matrix. Some kind of representation going on there. I don't know.
That's weird.
General Grievous throws in $2 at Feed Me Seymour. More I log in, I see shots fired. LOL.
Well, your cousin was
you can
here.
fire back, General Grievous.
Your cousin was paying us a visit, okay?
Yeah. Not a banned account, $2. Captain, glad the jokes are taken in good fun. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Sergeant Montgomery, another $2. Amazing. Thank you, guys. What era is Prodigy set in? Thoughts?
5 years after Voyager gets home.
Yeah, it's a few years after Voyager gets home. So
Already been said. No great mystery.
Yeah. Nope.
Which is good.
We're probably going to find out more, honestly, on September 8th, because it is Star Trek Day. We're probably busy that day because there's probably going to be Strange New World stuff as well. So
it's going to suck and be good at the same time.
Yep, absolutely.
But, speaking of not sucking and just being good, Raj says, did anyone else see the news that games, good old games, Galaxy will bring back previous Star Trek games to play, e.g. Bridge Commander and Armada? Now, that wasn't a confirmed thing, that was just that they renewed licenses, whatever. So it's a good theory. But did you see that, and what do you think?
I did see that, and I was excited, but as I always say, I'm cautiously optimistic. I really want them to bring back some of the old games. I've said that before. Remaster, please. Remaster Starfleet Command, all 3 volumes. Release it as a single thing. I know it's Interplay or whatever, and by all means, I would buy 15 copies just to say thank you. Give them out as gifts, maybe. I want them to know that it's appreciated. So if they do that, yes, please.
And if you assume that the cutscenes don't need to be touched because you wouldn't be able to do those, then like redoing Armada would be so easy. Because there's limited assets in the game, you rebuild them, then swap them out. You know what I mean? Like conceptually, to do a swap out would be very straightforward. You don't even need to update the engine; just make them nice looking models. You know, that's all we need. But no, I'm very excited about that because, as you know firsthand, and are pissed every day about, old games don't work on new PCs. Some games do. It is not a one size fits all problem. But they don't just work, and you know, some games that should don't, etc. So, but whereas good old games actually does make the effort to make them work, most of them, not all, which makes it a bit redundant. But yeah, you know, I can make Bridge Commander work on this machine I have many times, and Armada pretty much can. But yeah, if I would buy them again because they tend to do like inbuilt code upscaling, so like they all can reach 1080p standard. That's just in there. So it'd be good. I mean, certainly if they can get it to work, we should. And they have servers. You know, me and Stuart have some Marder play.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah, I've said this to you several times, but it's fun to
Absolutely.
do 2 live streams at the same time. One your perspective, one my perspective, and then you can watch both at the same time or watch them separately and see what's going on.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Matt Borman, though, says, I'm still waiting for Secret of Vulcan Fury. I know, right? Great game that was just scrapped, unfortunately.
I've heard that from him a few times. Although, to be fair, though, it might have been a rubbish game.
No, it wasn't. It didn't look like it.
Well, that looking is... Stuart, have you seen...
You haven't watched my captain's log on it, have you?
No, I have.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, though. It's interesting. It's good. It's good stuff. I'm just saying, until you play it, you don't know. You know? Yeah, something can look great.
Yeah. Chiton, though, puts in €5. Thank you. Hi, folks. Just joining now. Has anyone mentioned the nacelle and warp style look like Kelvinverse? It makes me wonder. Yes, it does have a very Kelvin JJ feel to it. It's a little bit Discovery mixed in there, but yeah. Well, and it's not really... yeah, the nacelles have been discussed. We'll discuss those again, and you'll have a video on Saturday about it as well.
Well, when you get to the end, there's definitely the big visual. We'll get there.
Yeah. General Grievous, $2. The Secret of Vulcan Fury was Ponfar. Yeah. Literally. Anyway, this next scene is what made me realize that there was a face or a character in the intros for the first time. You see this kind of forming of a face, and it's clearly Janeway. But again, a lot more L-cars splattered on there, so the L-cars at least look like they have a good L-cars feel to them, and they're probably going to be a blue color, much like in Nemesis and things like that. So I'm happy. I like that. But great representation of her hologram.
And then we get the most beautiful back view before the transformation. This is unaffected by absurd lighting, by anything else. Like, you can actually make out details, and I will zoom in to full frame because...
yeah.
And you can actually, to be fair, you can actually see the engine module, like, where it is.
Yeah.
And then, but there's the weird... There's a glint. It looks as if it's part of the pylons, but it's not. It's part of the main hull. But there's like the glint, the white of these little areas either side. So there's a hard cutoff point there. And there might be 2 torpedo launchers up in the neck area, but I don't think they are. They're just greebling. But there's like nothing on the hull. It's all smooth bit of plating.
Yeah, like we've said before, it has the Flight of the Navigator type of look to the shell of the ship.
That sort of curve, yeah.
Yeah, and smooth as.
But it's a great view. I mean, it's very thin pylons, but that works. Lots of cowling on the nacelles like the JJ films.
Samuel, you have 160 people watching right now, so welcome everybody. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the bell notification.
Click it!
You can join the channel to help us on a monthly basis for not very much. Just click that join button. You'll see the tiers. You can pick one, select your rank. And don't forget to hit that like button. We have 124 likes right now. I want to hit 150. So if 25 more people now can hit that like button, we can get to 150. That would be amazing, guys. We'd appreciate that. General Grievous also puts in $2 again and says it should be Hollow Janeway who killed Fear itself. Oh, yes, the Fear episode of Voyager. Love it or hate it. A lot of people love that one.
Still affects me to this day. It's great.
I hate that episode. It's
Well
just
written.
awful.
Great Harry episode. And that actor, that clown, really good.
Yeah.
Not too creepy. Creepy, but not too creepy. Now, question then, guys, for all of you that are here. If you were to rate this ship's behind, its arse end, its back view, its junk in the trunk, how would you rate this ship's, the Proteus's junky trunk? Do you like it? I'm saying, do you like the back view? Give us your thoughts right now on the back view of the ship.
Put it in the comments, guys. I want to see that. I think it's great. I love everything about this ship so far. Honestly, it's a fantastic design. I just know when I like something, and this I like. So, and seeing it in motion in this really did help for sure. I liked it when we saw it, the first shot of it, but this makes it feel a lot more alive. So,
Yeah, it definitely looked better in motion than it could have.
Mm.
Everything's
Thomas,
variable.
yeah, Thomas says the lack of impulse engines just furthers my theory that the nacelles are rocket engines now. We'll have to wait and see on that.
I mean, that'd be an instant no-no, and they know better. But that would be clearly a Kurtzman choice. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want impulse engines. It's like,
So-
oh, okay.
So we got a 8 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, a 7, an 8 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, nice ass, 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's a fairly good rated ass as far as ships go. It's better than the Enterprise D's ass, that's for sure. Not a band account, $2. Could Hollow Janeway find a love interest? Moriarty? I mean, real Janeway couldn't find one, so hell, why not?
I mean, I wouldn't mind a Hollow Janeway having a. I mean, you can't disregard that as being a real character because the Doctor was a real character. So having this version of Janeway find some sort of alien lover. I mean, hey, it's not that absurd, really.
And the Stanley says all good. The nacelles are too chunky. Oh, I disagree.
Well, they're a bit too chunky in comparison to how thin the pylons are. There's a disconnect there. It's deliberate. It makes it feel advanced, but there is a disconnect. You know, whereas normally they're about right. Like even if it's like, even just double the thickness would be absolutely fine. You know.
But they're not obnoxiously gross like the JJ Prize nacelles.
No.
So.
No. Well, that's the thing. The ship and nacelles are proportioned wonderfully. It's just the pylons are too thin. But not like it's fine. Just they could have done being double as thick, which wouldn't be very thick still because double isn't very much. But yeah, Stuart, let's talk about that elephant in that ass in that room.
Before we do that, though,
Okay.
General Grievous, $2. The ship has a small butt and ample nacelles. There you go. Perfect. Yes, we're talking about the transforming sequence, which feels very Michael Bay transformery with the way it happens. I can just hear the transformation sound.
Yep, I literally every single time
pictures.
I'm hearing it.
Yeah. Yep. Tangerine Star 26 puts in £2.
Dang.
Rousing, inspiring, and adventurous. Proper Trek. Phew.
I wouldn't say rousing, but I would say adventurous is fine.
No, I like the transformation sequence, and then the quick fire up of the engine, and then the streak. Yeah, I still maintain it's not a nacelle. It's just a generator of sorts that generates whatever they're heading into. Maybe it supplies power to the deflector at the front that does it. Well, I'm sure we'll get some kind of an explanation. Well, maybe it pulls in particles that it puts, because you mentioned earlier that the deflector is what would generate these things. So maybe it supplies what it needs to the deflector to. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get an explanation in the show as to what the hell's going on with it.
I mean, it's clearly a featured gimmick, and the thing is going to be reliant on this in its storytelling. So, you know, although we said that, but the attached nacelles didn't play any part in anything. Like really practically. I guess they weren't starting the season finale, but guys, you tell us in the comments down below what was your reaction to when the ship actually transformed before our eyes and went. Is it Turbo, the Galaxy Quest ship? When they press down the button, it goes. That Turbo?
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
So, they went Turbo. Very, very similar. What was your guys' reaction? I really want to know.
Were you pleased? Were you like, that's interesting? Were you like, ugh? Are you like, really? Like lots of different comments.
And let's be fair,
what?
All of the above. You know.
I was super stoked to see this happen and have like a what looks like a third nacelle, kind of dreadnoughty, and then the next shot is from the front and the outer nacelles bend down, and I'm like, no, you just ruined the whole aesthetic of the ship now. It just doesn't look good like that. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the lowered side nacelles for sure.
Ted Ferguson,
cool.
Why does it hide its engine up its butt? Why does a Prometheus hide its warp sustainer inside its head? I mean, because it's neat. I mean, you don't want to leave no sense. If this whole ship is built around this technology, you don't want it obscured. You don't want it a viable target. Now, this is why I wish they had a Discovery. Those inner rings had been closed, locked in by something, and then they would shift and open, and then reveal the particles. There would have been much smarter ways of doing that.
166 viewers though, 139 likes, guys. I still want to hit 150. That's only 11 more likes. 11 of you out there just tuned in and haven't hit like yet, so please hit that like button. It's a big deal and helps us out immensely, so if you can, please do. And make sure you're subscribed if you're new here.
And Thomas says, mark my words, Trek ships now have rocket engines. Well, the Discovery Shuttle had them too, sometimes. Not all the time, just sometimes. But lower decks, nothing there, so cross our fingers.
BJ Tehran, $2. Jump to ridiculous speed. Oh my God, they've gone plaid.
Yeah, I'm definitely left with, like, it was certainly an out of the blue thing. But I think releasing this early cushions the blow of if people don't like it during, because a lot of people will be purely, assuming this is a big part of episode 1, a lot of people will have such an issue that they can't enjoy the rest of the show. They sit and think, oh God, that's absurd. Like a spore drive, like the Discovery not connecting the cells. So seeing it early is great, like the Klingons, for Discovery Season 1, it made us think, oh God, so it wasn't as much of a shock. But for me, this is, assuming these guys are as smart as Might and Man, which is a hell of an assumption, because that's not been the case for any of these teams so far. There's a reason, and if there's a reason, it might be a dumb reason, but as long as the reason's been thought through, then I can possibly buy it. Definitely gives it more of a Star Wars feel and more of a random alien sci-fi. It is definitely one step further, and I'm hoping that when it's the non-tile sequence version, there won't be streaks, and it'll just come out and then maybe like pulse or, do something, or even form a wormhole via the back. I don't know. Like, what would it look like without the streaks? I do not expect the streaks to continue. They are absurd, and I'll be annoyed if they continue them.
I won't be. It's a nice visual look. I really like that, and like streaking behind, but yeah, it doesn't fit with the text. So
do you want lower deck ship to streak at warp? Like have red and blue streaks?
Oh no, because that's TNG standard tech. This is not. This is experimental. So who knows? Ricky Bobby, where is it here? Says if you're not first, you're last. Oh, wait a minute. Space debris can easily stop the transformation, thereby preventing warp speed. Just plain dumb. Well, no.
That's a really
doesn't
comment.
Need that. It is. It doesn't need that third nacelle or booster to go to hit warp speed. It can hit warp speed traditionally with the engines it has, I'm sure, because they're standard warp engines probably. But this purple tunnel that they're in is obviously some kind of new drive system, which is that
or
thing. So
conceptual imagery.
Yes. So if the thing can't open, they just can't do this special thing. That's not a big deal. There's lots of times where the ship can't do a special thing. So I'm fine with it.
I mean, you say that, but they have shields. So if the shields are down, they've got more to worry about than the drive getting hit.
Yeah.
Why would space debris hit this ship? They've got shields.
There's another comment I wanted to read too. Where is it here? Thomas, I'm guessing this is a post-Federation. I'm guessing this is post the Federation getting the Dauntless scans, hence the deflector. It does look very much like the Dauntless's deflector, which I can't stomach. I can't stand that goddamn ship. And you're right. Now that you said that, yeah, it does look very similar to that. Oh, I'm not happy.
But that would also... Oh my god, that's tricky, because... Okay, where's the front view again? Because let's assume that's real for a second.
Just go to the next view where the engines are going down. You get a perfect shot of the front
yeah,
view.
you're right. Sorry, I skipped past this. I mean, kind of. It's certainly closer, although that's a... I mean, I know that ship quite well. It's not... It's... You can say it is or really isn't. But the Dauntless scans came out, I believe, in Season 4, when they were just barely having communication. So if they got scans to them, then the ship would have to be, because if the whole ship is there to find Voyager, it'd have to be right at the end of their run. That's interesting. Could they reverse engineer tech? But things, you don't need Dauntless technology because the Voyager could slipstream without them, just by scanning it and seeing what it could do. But this doesn't like slipstream, and I doubt they would just say it's slipstream. And like I said, given Voyager can go slipstream, and the Dauntless can go slipstream without a third nacelle popping out to a ludicrous speed.
It might be quantum slipstream or something, like an advancement on slipstream or something silly.
I mean, that was quantum slipstream drive was what they were using, so it would be double quantum slipstream. But then what's fast? Like, what's faster than quantum slipstream drive? Like
wormhole drive.
Well, yeah, but then it have to be such a big. But then they've already done that with the Spore drive. Like, stop inventing the biggest drives ever. You know, it's not fun when you go to the furthest tech ever. And besides, wormhole drives, wormhole drives already done in Discovery. They already had full wormhole technology in Discovery, the Red Angel suit. So, I guess maybe this is a reverse-engineered Red Angel suit ship. Oh my god, what a reveal that would be! Season 3, episode 4, they walk in the engineering room, they finally get past the one door they can't get in, and there's a Red Angel suit. It's like, it's powered by that. Unlimited storage. As soon as they say unlimited storage in the data core, we know it's a Red Angel suit powered ship.
Yeah.
Canon. That's canon, guys.
Thomas says, Foley, I absolutely love the Dauntless. It's my favorite ship. Well, there's no accounting for taste. I'm sorry for your preference. Because it's an awful ship design.
I think it's great.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
I mean, you're not, though. But
well, I'm not insulting them. I don't like the ship. So he can like what he likes.
I agree, Thomas. I agree.
With what?
Oh, he said it doesn't think it's actually to find Voyager, just something else after. Yeah, I agree. I think it was a post design. Because I wouldn't want to explore the Delta Quadrant again. Yeah, time crystal. Indeed.
I'm back.
I mean, this isn't the answer, but it's a good comment worth discussing. SWGS says the ship was sent by Janeway to search for other lost Starfleet ships in Delta Quadrant, who were abducted by a caretaker and take their crews home. Hence, holographic version of Janeway. Thoughts?
No, I think that's a dumb idea. I don't think so. I think this was sent as part of the Project Pathfinder thing to bring Voyager home, or get somebody from Voyager home, or prove that the tech works. I don't know, but it's an experimental ship, so okay, maybe that's a good idea, actually, now the more I think about it. But how many ships are in the Delta Quadrant that she would need to find? Like, we got the Equinox, sure, but I don't know, it just seems like impractical.
It would be a massive retcon. Like, just the Equinox felt like a big retcon. I like if they hadn't made us explicitly sort of feel there's only 2 ships ever from Starfleet. Because remember, Caretaker sent you back home. That was the big part of his thing. Like, he sent loads home, they came, they vanished, and boom. That's why there wasn't like 50 Cardassian ships just wandering the Delta Quadrant. So I like the basic idea, but it doesn't fit into the universe specifically. But I do not mind the idea of this being the first Federation ship designed to explore the Delta Quadrant, and in fact, unmanned, totally unmanned ship, a drone ship, experimental drive, go into the Delta Quadrant, check out what's happening, because Voyager left a path of both destruction and helpfulness. Let's be honest, and I'm sure Janeway, being an admiral at this point, well, no, maybe not an admiral at this point. Yeah, we don't know.
Let's see. Caleb Horn puts in $5. A test bed for tech to help get Voyager home. Voyager got back before they started testing, went forward with the test anyway, and it was lost. Sure.
The only issue with that is that you would think Reg Barkley would have mentioned it at any point. Because it's a retcon. A retcon is a retcon, Like, it's best not to just say they invented it after, and then he avoided this big plot hole.
That being said, there could be a development that it was early on the drawing board, so he didn't think of mentioning it, or he didn't know. A lot of times those well, military anyway, not necessarily Starfleet, but they have different departments working on different things, and they don't always communicate with each other. So
I feel like Barclay was like the top dog, besides the admiral. I mean, he's the one that broke into the building and.
But he's also unstable mentally in so many ways. Are you going to tell him about a small ship that could possibly get to the Delta Quadrant? He would probably steal the goddamn thing and try to go help the Voyager himself. Like, seriously.
But the point is, he wasn't mentally unstable by the end. He was just a bit quirky. He got better. Like, he was pretty.
He was addicted to the Voyager crew and the Voyager holodeck program. He wanted to be their friend. Like, everybody on board loved him.
But that was before. That was when he got obsessed with the thing. And we're talking about after that, when he became head of the project. So it would have been after that.
Yeah.
And that's just holo addiction. That's not necessarily, I'm going to risk my life to go. Like, he wouldn't steal the ship. I don't see that happening.
Oh.
And it also doesn't look like it was designed, at the same time as Prometheus, It definitely feels after.
Turd Ferguson, $5.
Ooh.
To the dilithium haters, in a fusion reaction, water slows down the stray neutrons. This is known as a reaction modifier. Not needed, but helps a lot.
A great comment there by Turd Ferguson, which I think is super interesting. Maybe it's unmanned, so no one turns into a salamander. Yeah, what if it's a straight warp 10 ship? The third nacelle creates a stable warp 10 field, where it keeps it like in one-dimensional piece. It's better than a wormhole drive. You're a everywhere in the universe drive. Yeah, that whole third nacelle is an anti-salamander nacelle.
Sure.
Because we know...
I hate that. I hate that on so many levels. I hate that the salamander thing gets brought up all the time.
But we know other people went salamander. We saw them in Lower Decks. Like, it's, warp 10's been a thing. It's been an experiment.
I know.
I hate it. I think that's quite clever. I wouldn't mind a warp 10, like this their warp 10 test ship.
Sure.
And I could buy that for the visuals as well, being so like psychedelic-y,
But if you're everywhere in the universe at the same time, why is there a streak effect? You would just be boom where you're going to be
because
instantly.
It's from their perspective.
There would be no traveling.
But it's not actual warp 10. That's the point. It's like it's a warp 10 drive. It doesn't do warp 10 because warp 10 breaks the universe. So it's like their own unit. That's really cool. I like that.
I think it might be a new form of subspace travel or something that's... Who knows?
You know what would be great, Stuart?
Anyway.
If it was just the drive that the Navarians designed. Like this ship,
But the J-19...
Yes.
Moving on. Matt Boardman, $2. I prefer this over a Spore drive any day. Yes. So the ship could also be from the future or something as well and got thrown back in time or something. Maybe it's created in season 4 of Discovery. Gets lost. Michael Burnham pilots it. She's somewhere in the Delta Quadrant in the past now. We'll find her at the end of season 1 of Prodigy.
I mean, Janeway and Burnham, the two strongest female characters in Star Trek, apparently.
Yeah.
But we have the end view where we get to see the engine and the ship. Very clear, very crisp. Arrow heading through the galaxy. There's a lot of glow on this.
Oh.
But there isn't a Bassard. There's like a generator inside of the nacelle.
Did we want to talk about the plating at all? Because it's very NX Enterprise style. It seems pretty unique as far as Star Trek goes. It's very much reminiscent of the NX-01 Enterprise, in my opinion. But it's a nice close-up of the hull there, at least. So.
And the registry has got the outer lines. They're really subtle, but it's the right font. I mean, obviously, I've literally seen the NX hull texturing, so I know it's not particularly close. That's most of Aztecing with a bit of, I get what you mean. It feels more like the NASA, like a modern metal, or kind of like some of the JJ. Like, let's make this wall busy. Add plate lines.
I think because of the size of the ship being so small, that's why the plating's like this, to indicate that it's a small ship. Because if it's on a bigger ship, the same size plating wouldn't stand out quite as much.
Yeah. Oh, so you think a scale indicator?
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm wondering, obviously not. Let's just be fair, obviously not. But I'm wondering if, like, maybe you see the little... Because there's very few details, but there's a little box, a little rectangle with a black box similar to... What imagine if that's like a key thing you press into it, and then it pops off the plate. Everything's like a manual repair thing because the whole ship can be sort of disassembled vaguely because they seem to correspond vaguely to a plate. That'd be kind of cool. Otherwise, it's just like a random, like they should have a reason to be there. All these details. So.
Yeah, Tigorgrinum puts in €5.
Thank you. Good to see.
The third nacelle could be a secondary booster since the ship is smaller. Warp core would be small too. I like the variable geometry like Voyager. I hate the variable geometry like Voyager. I think that when the nacelles go down, it looks awful. But as for the warp core, I mean, runabouts have pretty small warp cores. They can do pretty good speeds.
Delta Flyer, I can go warp 8 or 9.
Yeah, exactly. So
I like the idea though. It's a warp sustainer, like it bolsters the warp field. But then, why would you put such a small warp core in the ship this size? Like the runabouts can go fast because they're tiny. They've got a lot of power for the size. But this is much bigger than that. So why would you give it a small warp core? And then why would you need something that? And then also the way it comes out of the ship feels overcomplicated. Just have a third nacelle. If you need 3 nacelles, have 3 nacelles. And why do the nacelles need to lower if it's a sustainer?
I wonder if there's different modes where they can, like the bird of prey, it can have the nacelles down, straight out, or up, depending on what it's doing.
Well, I think we've already seen that though. Flight and special drive.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if it hasn't actually got warp. Imagine if it's just this drive.
Well, it's interesting nonetheless, and I do really like the addition of this. You guys know I'm a sucker for dreadnoughts, so anything's third nacelle-ish. I think this looks really great, especially that shot of it. Even though I know the nacelles are down there, you can't really tell.
Yeah, you can't tell.
But it's a nice look as such, so.
I really hope we see this thing in conventional warp as well. Like same warp stars. I really hope they don't F around with that. It'd be a big letdown if they don't. And there's so few visual touchstones of Trek like that are like fundamental to all the different versions, and that is one of them. It'd be a shame to not include it. But no, it I would probably make, to make it a little more prime, I would make under 25% difference, Stuart. The old joke rule that was partially serious. What, like 11% changes? There isn't much you would change to tweak it to look more prime. Like, not a lot.
I wouldn't change hardly anything at all to make it. I love the way it looks. I think it's a perfect progression from Prometheus, like maybe the next generation after Prometheus. I don't know. I like it.
I mean, you say that, but Prometheus was a warship. This isn't a warship, so it wouldn't be on that same progressive line.
No, but the tech and the look is generally the same as far as aesthetics go for ships, whether they're,
Well, the E and Prometheus and.
And I'm really upset now about it looking like the Dauntless, because I hate that. I hate that ship. And this, I can see what they mean, and I agree. Especially that deflector.
Well,
it's like, ugh.
I mean, part of the Horizon is based on the Dauntless, and that bottom of the hull is how the Dauntless is, give or take. Like that sort of sweeping curve is very, very similar. So it's clearly paralleling, and the way the neck goes down is very organic. I mean, that would be a wonderful thing. I mean, can you imagine if, not to say you're going to enjoy this whatsoever, but can you imagine if they say, Jeremy says, do you want to know why the ship looks the way it looks? And they play some, CG recreations of the Dauntless scenes, and it's like, oh my god, like that's why Robert Beltran's in it, because he recorded new lines of dialogue from the Dauntless episode to play over the CG Robert Beltran in the Dauntless episode. Because that'd be great. Can you imagine some Voyager flashbacks in Prodigy? That'd be fantastic. Do it now.
Christian Starling says square, rectangle, solid nacelle caps. I don't see square or rectangle at all. Solid, yes. We talk about that in our video that's coming out on Saturday.
There's a few with them not lit. I mean, they are a little bit. I mean, they are more squared, but perspective.
And Squadron Courser is in $2. I really like it too. Just prefer the nacelles up. Yes. The whole sequence of it coming at the camera with the nacelles doing this, I was like, oh, no. Just kind of disappointed by the end of it, but I don't know. It's funny what people latch onto as to what they like aesthetically. Feed Me Seymour says, I reckon the top half of the ship and the single nacelle separates from the bottom of the saucer and main two nacelles. I could possibly see that. A separation plane. That the third nacelle is actually separates with the saucer.
Wait, are you saying that the Star Trek Prodigy team watched our Horizon video and then our Dreadnought video Foley and then said, let's put the two designs together?
Yeah, this is a Foley class and Horizon class hybrid. Wow.
Plus a bit of Dauntless just to piss you off. And a bit of JJ to piss me off.
We also don't like those guys, so there's some Dauntless in there. Captain Foley hates that.
And let's make the engines look like JJ engines. Samuel will hate that. But right proportion, so Stuart will like that. But thin nacelles, so they'll be less inclined. But then Transformers, so
Meanwhile, everybody in the Prodigy art department's watching this live later, and they're like, they got it.
It took them before the show even came out. God damn it, they're so on point. But seriously, guys, if you're watching, good job. Hopefully there's a reason for everything. I would like to know why the bridge dome is a bridge chasm, a cavern, and totally visible to space. Because it's a bit big.
Yeah, you can actually zoom in and see, looks like the captain's chair there.
Yep,
the main
it's
chair.
right there. It's very visible, which gives you, instant size indicator. It's weird. And look at those windows. Those windows are like the size of the captain's chair. It's weird. It's real weird. All right, guys. Well, I want to know. I want $25 more. You want how many likes?
I want another 15 likes. I want to get to 180 at least. So.
Well, I want an out of 10 for your pre-release review of this ship. How much do you like it out of 10? Gut reaction, and then we can come back on this when the thing actually comes out. Out of 10, Stuart, if you were to give this a pure gut reaction out of 10.
9. I love it. I love the design. I love everything about it, except for the nacelles angling down, but that's okay. How about you?
7.5.
Very good. Very good.
Honestly, it makes you kind of want to go in and just make a Prime version, like a actual classic, actual true evolution from Voyager, Prometheus, Sovereign, like. But I need to know the scale though, because you can't put phaser strips in without knowing the scale. But I love they don't have any weapons. That really makes me kind of happy. They can't shoot anything. They can't fight. They can't battle. They can't. Everything has to be using strategy and thought and consideration and diplomacy and engineering. That's really great.
Well,
you know?
Maybe all that stuff we saw in the hull, the little details, instead of being transporter emitters, maybe those are little weapons, holographic. Creates a holographic weapon array.
Photonic cannon. They got 94 photonic cannons on.
So we got some scores here.
Yeah.
9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 7.5, 7.5, 9, 8, 9.5, 8, 9, 8, 9, 9, 8.5, 9, 9, 8, 9.5, 8, 9, 9, 9. Wow. 10.4 out of 10. 25%.
Does that person know how to math? Oh.
Maybe not. Okay, guys, 7 more likes. We're almost at 180. 2 more likes would be good to get to 175, but 180 would be fantastic. And how many? You said $15 more?
Yes, nice, easy.
Super chat.
I'd love 45, as you can see, but 15 I'll be happy with.
But Squadron Course is right now the last super chat slot. So if you guys want to battle for the last super chat slot, I don't know if General Grievous is here. He kind of wants to always have that. So if you want to snipe in, feel free.
Last question then, because I'm pretty interested in this then. Which ship do you prefer? The USS Protostar or the SS Discovery from season 1?
Protostar.
Obviously. But don't be afraid if you like the Discovery more. You know? Or actually, if you want to put in the out of the 3 then, Protostar, Cerritos and Discovery, the 3... and La Sirena. You know, let's go full on. Put a little... so rate them 1 to 4 on your lineup of favourite hero ships. Might this be the best of the new hero ships? I don't know. So yes, and sorry, Squadron Course and Black Reaper got to re-vote. So out of those 4, how would you line them up compared to each other? Stuart, what about you?
For me, it's the Protostar, the Cerritos, the Discovery, and then the La Sirena. Yeah. You?
Yeah, Cerritos, Protostar, maybe La Sirena over Discovery. Because it's a nicer looking ship.
The only reason I don't like Discovery, really, is because of the era it's set in and the way it looks. If it had been post-Nemesis, it would have been a great design.
I mean, flawed, but still great.
What's that?
I mean, flawed, but still great, like nacelle length, etc. Like, conceptually better, but still flawed.
Yes, especially, but in the era, it does not work. And I actually preferred the Discovery Alpha that we got as the preview from San Diego Comic-Con to the final version. So there's that.
I should really write that into a fan film somewhere, like, just for the lols.
Yeah.
But I like the La Sirena as a design. It's a phenomenal Mass Effect ship. That's the problem with aesthetics versus like fits in. But yeah.
Wouter 215 throws in 20 euros. Oh, that's awesome. Honestly, now another 15 would just be a perfect number.
So close.
But it's okay. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Router. He says, I wonder if the Eagle Moss version will also transform or have swappable parts. Yeah, I talked about that earlier as well. I might make just 2 versions. The whatever version this is, what we would call it, and then the standard version. So
yeah.
And actually, what I said too was Playmates now has the rights back for Star Trek, and they made fantastic toys of ships back in the day. And this is perfect for them. A little bit transformable aspect to it. I would buy a Playmates version of this any day of the week. So yes.
Yeah, and for me, it's I wouldn't expect it to be separatable or anything because they've had 7 or 8 years or whatever to do with Voyager, and they haven't. So that's a pretty obvious distinction over the other ships. But 2 I could see doing. I think that'd be fine. I mean, it's different somewhat. But I mean, they've also had over a year of lower decks or no lower decks ships, so they might not be focusing on the non-live action stuff. We'll see. But obviously, pandemic. I mean, obviously, it's going to be delaying everything. But yeah.
Heavy Cap puts in $10.
Thank you, Michael Bean.
Calling me
fat. Hold on, no, it's not. Is that Michael? Wait. Isn't that guy from Aliens? Hicks.
Michael Bean.
Yeah, Michael Bean.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good. Phew.
But sorry, yeah, Heavy Cap. You call me fat man. Anyway, $10. When is the show scheduled to air? Also, really enjoying Lower Decks. Keep up the good work, guys. Well, thank you. We don't know when it's scheduled to air. Probably right after Lower Decks. I think they're just going to lead right into this. And but we haven't got confirmation of that. Like I said, September 8th, we'll probably know the beginning of the show, the air date.
Yeah, because we're now episode 3 or 4 of Lower Decks?
We're coming up on episode 4 of Lower Decks. We're almost halfway through Lower Decks already.
So they're allowed to... Lower Decks had it's like, hey, we're started. They can say the next ones, yeah. I mean, yeah, we Strange New Worlds trailer for the 3rd show. This will be the 2nd show. Discovery will be the 4th show. Picard will be the 5th show. Lower Decks will be the next show. Yeah, for sure. Although Squadron Course does a rather large selection of review of which one he prefers. He says Protostar, and then Horizon, and then Foley, then Cerritos, then Discovery Alpha, then Protector, then Orville.
I think he's second up to the 2 hosts of this show, personally.
Maybe.
I don't think the Foley would rank that high compared to some of those other ships, honestly. And I designed the goddamn thing, so.
Well, obviously, which version? There's so many. But it doesn't just make you sad, Stuart. The Discovery refit should just have been the Discovery the whole time in Nemesis era. Just looks
Yeah.
great. Just looks great.
Yep.
It's so weird and so sad.
I am me. See, puts in $15. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Boom. There we go.
Love the ship. Great opening.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's my takeaway from this. I just was pumped up to see this intro or this title sequence, and the music, the little twang of Star Trek at the end of that musical score was just like, oh, give me a little bit of goosebumps. So, and plus all the ship porn, I just love it. It's fantastic. So it's actually one thing I can't stand about TOS and TNG is the camera and then the it's like, that's really unoriginal, guys. The same shot over and over again. Just, I want to see more of the ship. So that's one of my complaints about those two openings. But yeah, I mean, you guys have been awesome. 145 viewers still here. 184 likes. That's awesome. Can we hit 200 though? That's 16 more likes. Have 16 people not hit that like button.
Yes.
If you haven't hit it yet, just hit it now. I want to see if we can get to 200 at least. Oh, and Shannon Nash throws in a $5 super chat. So Shannon now has the last super chat slot as well. But he says, Playmates did do a transforming Enterprise D. It went from regular Galaxy to Dreadnought Galaxy. I think I still have it somewhere. Yeah, it's called trans something. It had a really creative name. Trans Warp or something like that, because it basically warped the ship and transformed it, so it was a trans warp version. But yes, the Galaxy X and the regular Galaxy class.
And Richie Apple says, is everyone forgetting the Parliament class from Lower Decks? No, because it wasn't the hero ship of that show, and it's just a bigger version of Cerritos, but also not really. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's just a Miranda class in Lower Deck style. It's just, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Trans warping. Thank you, Shannon. That's what it was called. Yeah, trans warping for that transformable Playmates ship.
And John says, don't think you can complain about TOS. They're doing the best given the constraints and budget at the time. Oh, they did groundbreaking stuff, but Stuart's saying from an artistic point of view, he wish they had more. It's not a complaint so much as he wants more ships. You could say that for anything. You know, you could say that.
Yeah, for the intro, just that static between each name. It's like, change it up a bit, guys. That bugs me. Even in TOS, I just hate it.
It's like I'm sure you'd also say you wish there was more moon landing shots of Neil, you know, like just because you want more visuals. Yeah, not a complaint per se.
Yeah. Squadra now has the last super chat slot though with a $1 snipe in. So thank you, Squadra.
No feed me. No.
And 6 more likes to 200.
Yes.
I know that there's still 6 people that haven't hit that like button, so hit that. What are you saying? No to feed me Seymour being a pain in the ass again? By the way, following on the Drunkyards the other night, I think you both need to do an episode of Trekyards on top 10 ships you'll have fun times with. Oh, sexy time ships. No. Sergeant Montgomery, last super chat slot with $1. Thank you very much.
So, pimp the next live, Stuart?
Next live will be tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is my first reaction to episode 4 of Lower Decks. So, and then Friday, of course, will be our full review and breakdown of the episodes. So those are the next 2. And then Saturday, there's a whole thing on the Protostar and this first look. So that'll be a fantastic episode if you're a ship lover.
And it was
go into some details and theories.
Our longest recording time for a while for a ship. We just kind of kept going, which was a good sign.
Yeah.
And
it was easy. It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's that long already.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's not much to edit out either. Actually, it was all pretty much there. And then Sunday we'll hopefully something Lower Decks. We'll see. And then I'll be traveling back by train on Monday, so we'll see if I'm back for a live. Obviously, we need the income, so I'll probably try to. But we will see. But yeah, and thanks guys who made yesterday's live so good. Drunk Live, thank you so much. Today we did very well as well. And yeah, very few days to September 8th. Guys, you clear your calendars because we're clearing ours. Same Trekyards time, new Trekyards topics. And I can imagine that would be all hands on deck, caffeine heavy. Let's talk about the Stranger Worlds trailer for 3 or 4 hours. Oh no, Stuart, it's 3 a.m. Okay. That was a 5 hour, you know what I mean? That would be a thing.
Yeah. Tangerine Star 26, £1 sniping.
Thank you.
With Ozzy Maderos, $2
Oh.
badgie time,
Oh, no.
scooping it from him.
Is it peanut
And
butter
that's-
badgie time?
Yes, and Squadron Course with another $1 super chat that has the last super chat slot. So, damn.
So there we go. Thanks so much, everyone.
That's right. So until next time, guys, he's Commander Cockins.
He's got a Foley.
And we are Team Trekyards. So, catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye, guys.